Are you happily retired? Retirement isn't just about the amount of money you've accumulated, right? But it's about having the type of life that you imagined or that you wanted. So, are you retired? And then, are you happily retired? Today in this video, I'm going to share with you three specific signs of a truly happy retirement. Okay, so welcome to In-Home Senior Care. My name is Vitaly. I'm so glad you're here. And in this episode, I just want to share with you a little bit about the idea of retirement and what is it supposed to be, right? So retirement is supposed to be freedom from schedules, kind of giving you the ability to live life on your own terms instead of being dictated by, I've got to be here, I've got to be here, I've got to be here. Maybe it's more travel, maybe it's more fun and time with family, less stress, more peace. And then kind of this assumption is that if I save enough, I'll be happy. So the big focus is on the money aspect of it, like how much is enough, and if I have enough, then the retirement is going to be great. So how much money do you need to retire, right? And that my answer to that is it depends, right? Because all of us are different, and so do you have debt? What expenses do you have, and then how much do you have in savings? I think the average, if you ask ChatGPT, it's about a little over $56,000 per year. That's considered median income for retirees in the U.S. for 2025 anyway. So meaning half of the retirees earn less and half will earn more. And so that number, if you hear of that number, do you think that's enough for you to retire or to live on comfortably? And again, for everybody, that's going to be a unique and different, different answer. So happiness in retirement, though, is only partially affected by money. So just kind of that idea of like, well, money doesn't buy happiness, right? We've heard that a lot. But many people will say, well, but it can't hurt. Because certainly we have to pay for things, and when we don't have the money to pay for those things, it adds stress to our life. So can you have enough money and still feel empty in your retirement? And so happiness really depends more on other things than just the money that we have. Money certainly affects things, but it's relationships, it's feeling needed, feeling like you have a purpose in what you're doing. Many seniors, or many retirees, I should say, will struggle with their identity once they retire, right? Especially if they haven't spent a lot of time really thinking about it. It's just like, well, they've thought of it as a number. I age to this point, it's 65, 67, and then I retire. And if they haven't spent a lot of time processing that, so there's a certain loss of structure and purpose, and this especially hits hard for men because for all those years, there was a reason to get up in the morning. They had to be somewhere. They had a mission to go and to get out and to earn. But it was a part of their identity and their life. And so that ends. Potentially there's loneliness that, now that you're retired, are you able to do more things with your friends, or are your friends busy with other things? And so that necessarily might not be the reality, what you thought would be. Like now everybody, my age cohort, we just get to go play golf. We're doing things all day. I would say if you already had a structure of friends and you already did things together, that is more likely to happen. But if you're close enough with those people, you would also know whether they're already doing what their timeline looks like and what their time will be filled with. And then health changes potentially increase costs and stress. So age will take its toll on all of us, right? And so as you get into retirement and as you age, I know even after I turned 40, I started to have certain things that I started to notice with my body. And so all of that will continue to where you will potentially have new things that you're dealing with. And then money anxiety doesn't necessarily go away because you're retired, right? I think anxiety tends to follow us, even though you might say, well, I have enough to where I don't have to be at a job just to bring a monthly income. But obviously all sorts of things can come along that can stress you out, and new expenses that you never thought could be there can show up. So here are the three signs of a truly happy retirement, and I'm glad I'm able to share them with you. So number one, it's connection. It's family, it's friends, and community. So for all of us, it may look a little different. For me, it's my church, it's my closest friends, who are to me like family, maybe even closer than family in many ways. And it's family. It's the meaningful relationships. And so I think of you, if you have, obviously if you have kids or grandkids especially, one of the things you'll hear from people saying, oh man, I wish the grandkids would come around more often, or there's a more of a grumpy tone to that sometimes. And I always say, well, if you invested in them, if you spend time with them, they will come around because they will have a very valuable relationship with you. Otherwise, you may be trying to compel them to come and visit when that's not a natural relationship that they already have with you. So think about that as you have more time. How can you be more intentional with how you spend time? And think about this, that should not be spent on the things you like, but think about the things that they like and how can you invest in them. Can you go to their games, take them fishing, hunting, whatever those things may be, but be more on their terms and invest in them. So the connection is the biggest component. So how can you structure and think about structuring your retirement years so that you can really take advantage of the time that you have to build and to strengthen the connections that you already have. Number two is purpose. So purpose is volunteering, mentoring, serving others. It's always going to be doing something that is bigger than yourself, whether it's through an organization, whether it's through your church, whether it's just the neighbor down the street, but it's beyond your own needs. We will always be more satisfied when we're serving others versus just doing things for us. I know doing things for ourselves feels amazing, doing the things we love doing, but at the end of the day, you will always have a greater sense of accomplishment and a greater sense of what's worthwhile from the time and even the money that you give to others to help those that need it. And then the last one is support. So connection, purpose, and support. Support is two things. So one, it's a support network that you have that you feel confident and comfortable that if your life is upended somehow, if you end up in the hospital, if something else drastic happens, you have people who you trust and who you know that will come to your side and will help you, right? It doesn't mean that you are constantly begging for people to come and do things for you, but it means that you have such a relationship with those people that you are able to ask them for help in situations where that's needed. I'm going to give an example of that. So we live about 15 minutes from the airport, and we've got a couple of families where we rely on one another when we travel that we will help each other get to and from the airport. And it's amazing and helpful, and I get those sometimes. I really want to get up at 4 a.m. to go drive this person. I'm like, I don't mind at all, right? Because I am investing in the connections that I have and helping to build and strengthen that support network that I benefit from, and I hope that I benefit them with as well. So it's a small example, but it could be other things. It could be, hey, I need some help in the backyard with this issue. And when you have close enough friends, that support network is really, and nobody feels like, well, man, that you're asking for a lot, right? There's a fine line in those kinds of things. But it's knowing that help is available when things might get harder. And those things don't just happen. You can't reach out to people that you haven't talked to for years and ask them because it feels strange. So in your retirement, if I would sum it up in some small way, it would be the relationships and the connections that you have with people, and it's what you give more than what you receive, because by giving you will always receive in that process and from other people. So just want to kind of offer a gentle encouragement on this. think of it as retirement isn't the finish line. It isn't like where you graduate to and then you're kind of done. Think of it as a new season of life where you get to be more intentional because you have a little bit more freedom. You don't have to go spend your day exhausting yourself working, and then you come home and then you're spent and there's only a little bit of that energy left in your tank. So you have the freedom and the ability, but be intentional about it. The goal for you isn't to just live longer, right, to add just days to your life, but to fill those days with meaning. And I always love Zig Ziglar's quote where he says, spend time with those you love, because one day you're going to look back and you're going to either say, I'm glad I did, or I wish I had, right? So we get to make that determination now, and especially in those really powerful relationships, your grandkids, spend time with them. Do things that they like to do, invest in them, make sure that when they hear your name, their face beams with a smile because they can't wait to spend time with you, because then they will come and visit you because you've invested in them. So the goal is to live well with peace and with purpose. That is your goal. So ask yourself this question, you or your loved one, are you just retired or are you happily retired? All right. So we're still in January. It's still time where you could make another New Year's resolution and add it to your list. Or are you about to retire? Maybe you're kind of in that, like maybe it's just within reach within a couple of years. And have you really thought about it? Have you considered what happily retired really means? What will you do with your time? And if something feels off, it may be time to just kind of process it and to talk about it and to think about it. So let me offer you a suggestion, kind of a self-serving one from my perspective. So I want to encourage you to become a part-time caregiver, a professional caregiver. We love to hire retirees to be professional caregivers for us because of the closeness in age potentially to the clients that we serve. There's a lot of relatability, and it is amazing the appreciation that our caregivers feel from the clients they work with. And certainly it's one of the most rewarding jobs that you can have. So again, if that interests you at all, please look us up, look on our website and apply for a position with us, at least have a conversation. But thank you for tuning in. If you found this video helpful, please share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.